Eyes locked from across the room, hot sweat dripping, bright neon light.
Gotta set you up, hold on. Oh, it's not. Fuck. Let me also not like trip and bust my ass. I can take this off. It's a lot harder than I thought it was gonna be. That's what I don't understand about Massachusetts and falls. Like, legit. Like yesterday, it was cold as hell outside. Cold as hell outside. So then I wake up late because, unbeknownst to me, my charger had plugged out from my phone, so it died, and I couldn't friggin' of course, if my phone's dead, I can't hear my alarm. But you know, I'm like, well, I already had a rough idea of like the outfit I wanted. It's gonna be kind of cold. Nope, it's damn near hot outside. But that's New England, or at least Massachusetts. So just wanted to give you a quick check. Somewhat more confident when filming, but that's kind of hard to do, my friend. That's kind of hard to do. Especially when I nearly dropped my phone. Excuse me. So try this again, and hopefully it doesn't fall again. You probably can't see me because, as per usual, there's like a lot of light. There's a lot of sun. Let me try turning myself on. Okay. That's much better. I mean, I can't see, but it is what it is. In a while. See, I keep filming stuff and I'm like, oh yeah, this is gonna be the one that I finally post. I said that about the last one, but it's like I have stuff that I'm working on. It's just I'm in school, so gotta prioritize my schoolwork. Currently on the soccer field. Oh, let me show y'all. The fact that I can still see the moon, you can't see it probably, but the moon is still out. Somebody make sense of that. Like, why am I seeing the moon at like 10 something? But yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna make this its own separate. I guess it depends on the time. I'm either gonna make this its own separate video, or I'm gonna put this at the end of the like study with me I just filmed. But I wanted to film this because I feel like I haven't really talked to y'all on like a motivational thing for a while, and I really feel like, you know, regardless of how many views, that's loud for no reason. I really feel like regardless of how many views this gets, what you believe in, what you don't believe in, how you live your life, and whatever, that this can help somebody, because like honestly feeling this way has completely shifted my way of life. And it doesn't matter if it comes in like moments or if it's just your like the way that you live. I feel like it's something that a lot of people need to hear. When you truly, when I say truly, I don't mean like in the self-help way of, oh yeah, just tell yourself that you're happy or just be happy. That doesn't work. That really does not work. I mean in the sense that you have truly gotten to a point where you look at yourself, you look at your life, you think about your life as a collective and where you are, and you're like, life isn't all too bad, you know? And you get to this place of comfort where you're like, ultimately, what I choose to do with myself does not in any way, shape, or form impact other people unless I make it impact other people. And vice versa. I can't let the way of life or the thinking of other people impact me unless I make it impact me. And for a little bit, honestly, living like that was kind of difficult because I'm somebody who for a very long time cared a hell of a lot about other people and what they thought, and trying to befriend everybody and be cordial and, you know, whatever. But over like the past couple months, I found myself being like, who cares? Like, you get so sick and tired of trying to scroll on your feed to get entertainment, and it's always this person said this, or here's why you shouldn't do this and that and the third, and it's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, that only applies to those who want to hear it. But the mass majority of people will scroll past your video, and a good chunk of them really just don't care. And then, like, even in my day-to-day life, like, you hear people who get so angry about stuff that doesn't affect them. Like, I will, like, something that has always been foreign to me is the concept of having this disdained hatred for people because they choose to live life in a way that makes them happy. You're mad at other people's happiness and other people's comfort. Like, you're really upset because somebody else is secure and okay with living life in a way that brings them peace. You want other people to be as angry as you. That doesn't make sense. It does not make sense, like, in the slightest. And I realized that that's kind of how I've been living my life for a very long time. I'm just kind of like, I don't have the strength, the will to hyperfixate and focus on what other people are doing. And this brings into like personal experience and my faith in God and stuff. But I'm gonna say this in a not so religious way, because as I said, I want this to be applicable to any and everybody who comes across this video, because I have the understanding that there are some people who really believe in spirituality and the concept of higher beings and power outside of their own, and there are people who just don't connect with it or don't care for it. I'm not going to push that on you, because ultimately it's a personal choice. What you choose to put yourself into faith-wise is solely dependent on you and what you experience and what you find validity in. So I don't want this to get caught up in it's just a Christian talking. No, I want you to hear this as a human speaking to another human, because we are all just that. We're all humans. It doesn't matter where we came from, what we've been through, anything. We're all just humans trying to make sense of this very, very frankly nonsensical world that we live in. Such a relation that like nobody walks up to me and is like, what are you doing? It's like, I go to school here. I have a right to be here. When we look at life, there are things we can't control, especially up to a certain age. You can't change what happens to you. And sometimes being rebellious will make that situation worse, and it will make it good, because you're now adding so much more onto what you've already been through and what you're going to go through. And as much as we want to say that we're in control of how we feel, the brain operates on its own. And we only know so much about what our brains can do for us. But what we can control, despite how our brain circuits itself, is how we respond to it. And response is the best thing that you can control, because a lot of the negative people in the world who aren't so happy with how their life turned out or certain things that happened to them, they use your response to them as validation. Whether that be positive, negative, happy, sad, whatever. They're just looking for some type of response from you. And when you don't give them that response, it angers them. It angers them so much of, why can't I get to this person? Why is it that no matter what I throw at this person, I could throw the world at them and they're still loving themselves? They're still, and I don't mean loving yourself as in like, oh, the normal, just love yourself and me. No, I mean seriously, just kind of like, you know how to dress yourself, you know how to style yourself, and even if you don't feel 100%, you can still look at yourself and be like, but I eat that up a little bit though. Like, I did do my big one. Like, if my hair doesn't look good, I know that my outfit still eat. If my outfit don't eat, I know that my hair look good. If I can't back on any of those, my makeup looks good, or I just know I got a pretty bomb face. Or if you find security not with your physical being, but it's kind of like, you enjoy what you're doing in life. You're just kind of like, I'm at a job or I'm in school, and what I'm majoring in and what I'm doing is something that I genuinely see. There's a spider right there. If it crawls over here, I'm running. I'm just being honest. But like, you feel comfort and security in what you're doing and how you live life, and you're not going to allow anybody who isn't happy with what they're doing and how they're living life to tell you that you're somehow doing something wrong. And where I first kind of heard about this mindset, or where it first kind of clicked for me, was I was actually reading a book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, to put it PG. And he made a really good point of, the only reason you feel like something is wrong is because the world tells you that you always have to fix something. They always tell you that even if you are doing great, even if you are succeeding in every aspect of life, there's still a way for you to better yourself, because what you're doing, though it's good, is never good enough. And having that mindset is so tiring and yucky, bro. Like, this is coming from somebody who finally freed herself from that mentality of, I'm not doing good enough, I need to do better, everybody else is doing this and the third. Like, I'm not saying that the thoughts completely stopped. They're still very much there. We're human, we're gonna compare. But just when they do come, easily being able to revert back and being like, I'm doing the best I can in this moment, and finding joy and peace and happiness in, I could be doing worse. And I don't mean that in the like, oh yeah, you know, there could be homeless people, or there, no, I'm talking about personally. I have been through some trenches, seen some stuff, experienced some stuff, been let down by a lot of people, felt like no matter, I've had feelings that no matter how much I try, I just can't get to certain points. But eventually I was like, how about I start feeling comfort in where I am? For example, I've always been complaining about, oh my God, I can't get out of the house enough. So being able to so people started walking past. I got scared. Wasn't expecting anyone to be here, so I froze. I didn't know what to do. I had to act like whatever. Just, I haven't gotten to that point of like talking with people around me. We not there yet. All in time, all in God's time. But anyways, but having that ability to kind of recognize, okay, what can I do that will make things a little bit better, or make me feel like, okay, where I am isn't as bad. For me, I was always complaining about, oh my God, I'm sick and tired of being in the house. I don't have anywhere to go, don't really have friends to go out with. All of my siblings is out living life, and here I am stuck at home. You know what I did? I came and I stayed at school one time, and now it's just like, if I feel like staying at school a little extra, regardless if it's to do work or just because I seriously want to just sit outside a little bit and see color and just see something that I know would bring me peace, that helps me. Because now when I go home, I don't feel as drained of like, oh my God, all I did was go to school and then go home. No, it's like I'm seriously doing something that was subtle, doing something that has helped me get a little bit more boost and be like, life ain't all too bad when you get to just sit down and feel the sun and see the changing leaves and stuff, you know? Because look at this, bro. Do you see the colors? Just seeing the vibrant colors of the world makes me happy, because when you're so used to seeing life dulled out, oh, they doing laps. When you're so used to seeing life kind of dulled out, it kind of becomes difficult to enjoy the color. But I've always been somebody since a very young age who, I don't want to see a dead world. I want to see all the colors that life has to offer, which is why I take so many sky pictures and stuff like that, because it's so open and it just gives you that bit of peace of like, the world ain't all too bad. It's just when you're over consuming the negative, it feels like that's the only thing that exists. Hey, if you want to consume yourself in the worst of the world and be frustrated at other people who are choosing not to, that's a personal choice. Because I might only be 20, but I've been through 20 hectic years, and I will not be spending another year, another month concerned about what people feel about me, what's going on in the world that's completely and utterly out of my control, being guilt tripped into feeling that because I'm not doing X, Y, and Z, I'm somehow lacking as something or as someone, because you're not. You just have priorities and you have interests. Not everybody's going to support every cause. That's the reason why it's called a cause, is because there was an issue and some people were like, we want to talk about it. Not everybody wants to participate in every movement as much as they might agree with you and think that what you're doing is great. They themselves don't want to participate in what you're doing. And also, like, Brody, I don't have time to be angry anymore. I'm tired of being angry. And this is a little segment that I will throw my faith into it just a little bit. Just a little bit. The other day, I was in my room and I was going through one of them periods where you kind of just, you see everything that's happening for other people. Because remember, we are humans. It's engraved in us. And we can't help that. Oh, they walk off, I guess. But I was looking at the lives of other people, not like online per se. Well, some aspects were online. Some like relationships and stuff. And I was also looking at like the lives of the people who I know in real life, and I got frustrated with God. And this is like the first time in my 20 years, because I've known God my entire life. Like, and I don't even mean as in like, oh yeah, I was raised Christian. Like, yes, my mother, oh, that's not okay. I'm gonna have to stop wearing this ring for a little bit because that's not clean. I like the lining or something. Okay, I'm gonna just take that as a sign to take this off before I go ahead and I damage my skin. But I got frustrated with God, and for the first time in 20 years, despite, because right, I've always grown up knowing God. My mom and my dad are, you know, faith people. But the thing is that even though they introduced me to God, I was having my own interactions with Christ from a very young age, like distinct memories of interacting with God, which is why from personal account, I decided that God is real and is someone I want to have in my life. But like I said, not too much. But I was looking at everything that was happening for other people, and I got frustrated with God. Like, this is the first time in my life I went at God disrespectfully, and I was like, God, like, it's an issue with me, and like, I don't understand how everybody else gets this and that, and I'm just like, why do you feel like, I feel like you turned your back on me, you don't pay attention to me, da 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 da. And within moments, what was it, Psalms 22 continuously popped up on my For You page. It originally started as people explaining the beginning of it, where Jesus started to quote Psalms 22, but then a video popped up where the guy was like, if you have not read Psalms 22 in a while, go read it. I was like, all right then, bet. Let me go ahead, let me read this psalm. I had never been put in my place so quick and called out so quickly by God. But in the same way that he kind of called me out and showed me where I was coming from, he also demonstrated himself, and he explained himself and was like, I have my purposes for everything. Just know that even though I might not be answering you now, I still hear you. And so I was like, so then immediately after I read that, I apologized and was like, God, my bad. Like, I just kind of, I don't know where my audacity came from, the thing that I was somehow like above you in any way. I had a lot of pent up anger, and it just combusted. Like, that's how it is. So now swaying away, moving on from Christ, because I know that some people probably skip that area. It's okay to have that frustration, but if you ever find yourself getting that angry, just know you have a wave of peace coming afterwards. Because after I had that, and this was like 1-2 months ago, I realized how much my peace shifted. Because I was like, I'm over here getting angry at God because stuff ain't happening, but not realizing that you got stuff going on that you need to be focused on. And you out here comparing and rushing with other people. They just in the best position right now to be getting that. So make value in what you have. And part of that for me was finding peace in just coming outside by myself, sitting on a bench and looking at the beautiful colors of the world, because we know that once December comes, not even by next month or so, these colors ain't gonna be around that much, and that's when that seasonal gonna hit you. But you gotta beat the seasonal. You gotta beat the seasonal. And then I was starting to have interactions with people where I just saw how angry people were, and I'm like, you can't truly be happy with yourself if that's your defense mechanism. If the moment somebody starts discussing something that you're not comfortable with, or you might be opposed to, that you react defensively. I can't live like that. And which is why I feel like people need to develop an agree to disagree standpoint. And I truly feel like if everybody just lived like that, we would be a lot further in the world. Because for some reason, people feel like you either need to be on one extreme or the other, and they don't see that there are nuances in every single topic. Well, I use nuances in every topic very loosely, because from my personal perspective, there are a lot of issues that it's like there should be no negotiation, there should be no question that this is wrong, this is immoral. But you have to understand that there are people that it doesn't matter how bad it is, there will always be people on the opposition being like, well, I really don't see a problem with it. And more than likely it's because they're condoning in it themselves. And as much as you side eye these people and you're like, if I could do things without repercussion, I would probably like pummel you because you're disgusting. You also have to understand that these people don't see themselves as disgusting. And there are people who, they might not be enacting it on themselves, but they do feel as though those people have a right to exist. And it's like, you better than me. You better than me. But also exposing yourself to the different perspectives of understanding, okay, why do certain people think certain ways? And knowing that ultimately it is best that especially if you're like strongly opposed to something or strongly in favor of something, you probably need to be around people who are as strongly, in the same realm, because then you're gonna have people feeling like you're impeding on their territory, and that's not it. And that's just how I've lived my life for like the past 2 years. Is if I'm having a conversation, especially if it's something that is like sensitive, especially like religion and stuff, I proceed with caution. And I'm just kind of like, I will never go into these conversations trying to convert you or make you feel as though you're doing something wrong. You have a choice to believe. And it's not like this is a foreign topic to you, or else we wouldn't be having a conversation. You know about it, and you just chose that that's not something you want a part of your life. Cool, Don Julio, I got you, big bro. We chill, agree to disagree, but ultimately, I just want to make sure that what you're doing makes you happy, and you're not doing it out of like an anger standpoint. Just like how some people feel like in order to get their life and to live life to the fullest, they gotta party and drink on a day-to-day basis. Me personally, I don't see the fun in every single night going out getting flat out wasted, but that's just because that's not something that has interested me ever. So I'm not gonna now pummel you and make it feel like, oh, there's a hell of a lot wrong with you and you're a sick person because you feel like in order to get your fulfillment in life you gotta go out and party. That's not my place. Because at the end of the day, after this conversation ends, I'm probably never gonna see you again. I'm probably not gonna speak to you again, and you're still going to do what you were doing. Now, it is possible that after the conversation that you then go on and you start to look at yourself a little bit different. It's like, I never heard that perspective described in that way before. And you do make changes. So I'm not saying that, people just always ignore what people say. No. If you have a conversation with somebody, there is always a possibility that they will take what you say wholeheartedly and they will follow that. They'll take some parts that hit better than others, or they'll be like, nah, that still ain't for me, and they will move on. And you just have to live life knowing that that's gonna happen. Like, excuse me, I've had many conversations where people will come up to me and be like, oh, Renice, you're Christian, right? And we have a conversation. And I'm gonna get on that point later, but we have a conversation and we state our points. I try to understand, okay, where is this person's thinking coming from? They hear where my thinking is coming from. We find, okay, what points can we collectively agree on? Even though we kind of oppose each other, what do we still collectively agree is like a good basis for this argument for both sides? And where do the differences stand? And how can we walk away from this with more respect for the other person? And that is something that a lot of people have always applauded me for, is that I never come on the attack. I never come to change your mind. I come to understand you and to share my perspective. And those are the people I want y'all to surround yourselves with. Surround yourselves with people who they kind of challenge you in a sense, but it's not in a I'm trying to tell you that your side is wrong. It's more of I want to understand where you're coming from and kind of apply that thinking to myself and have an understanding of billions and billions of people who exist. Back on the topic of conversation, I feel like in 2024 and over the past couple of years, people have lost the concept of conversation, because it's always supposed to be a debate, it's always supposed to be an argument, and that's when nothing gets done, because people always are fighting with each other. And it's like, I'm not trying to fight with you. I'm one of those people where the moment I sense hostility in the conversation, I drop it, because I know that this person finna come through with some ignorance, be stubborn, and they don't want to hear the other perspective. They're just trying to scream their point as much as possible and hope that they kind of drown out your voice. But that's where the whole reaction thing comes from, because if I don't react the way that you want me to, now you're just screaming at a wall, because I'm not even paying you no mind. Why? Because I peeped who you are, peeped what you're trying to do, and I done moved on. You're still yelling at the wall, but I'm living life as successful. You're wasting your time while I'm successfully using and managing mine. Like, come on now, let's be honest with ourselves. Like, but the art of having a conversation is what helps people bring a sense of humanity and understanding to topics that otherwise would always make people defensive. Because if you approach every conversation with caution, and it's more of listening to the next person, building off what they say, maybe interjecting your own personal thing, but then also kind of being like, but I never really saw it that way, or I'm trying to understand where you're coming from, rather than, oh my god, this is why, and I just hate this, and if you were so passionate about it, why are you trying to talk to me about it? Because ultimately, if I'm really, really strong in my position, let's say that we talking about why red is better than purple, and I truly, in all of my core, believe that red is significantly better than purple, and you come in believing to your core that there is no way possible that that red gonna touch purple status, and we're just arguing and bickering and throwing insults and belligerent the other side and talking about, and you start to lose the conversation, and it's now more of a personal attack, because no one is really trying to state their case anymore. They're just trying to hurt the other person. What is getting done in this situation? Like, what's being done? It's no longer a conversation, it's just attack until somebody shuts up, and that is not something that I or anybody else should be partaking in, because it's a waste of time and it does nothing. Just like how, as much as you want to say we want to start a conversation, sometimes it doesn't matter how much you have this conversation if nothing is being done, and it's just going in one ear and out the other, and you can clearly see that no matter how much you talk about it, no progress is being done. You sometimes just gotta let shit go and be like, it is what it is, OG. And no matter how much I talk about it, nothing will be done unless the people who have the ability to change it do something. So it's like, as much as this is why, as much as some people want to advocate and want to speak up about certain things, they also understand that this is an issue that has existed for centuries, for years, and nothing has been done about it. For example, I am very passionate about school shootings because I have been a victim of gun violence, and I have been in way too many situations of having to go in actual safe modes, people either being in the area, bringing them to school, or just having this sense of fear where I've experienced people getting stabbed at school. You go out to the mall, all of a sudden you have to get a phone call saying, yo, stay where you are because apparently somebody has this in this area and whatnot. That shouldn't be the norm. Nobody should have to live their life like that. But this has been a conversation that has been in discussion for years about gun reform, restrictions on guns, what is leading these people to feel like in order to kind of reprimand or get some type of justice for themselves, they have to turn to violence. We've been talking and talking and talking. And the people in power, the people who can write these legislations, the people who can vote on them, what have they done? Nothing. And even if something is signed off on, it's not being implemented. Just like how in schools, you will have rules upon rules upon rules in the handbook, but nobody actually reads the I mean, I did. Which is why I kind of know for a fact that even though certain rules are implemented, they're not actually being applied because, I don't know, it was just randomly one day I was interested in the school handbook and I decided to read it. But there are these rules upon rules for schools, and yet you see how many children are able to break them without repercussion. And you wonder, like, okay, why is the rule there? If there are loopholes, or if you're just not going to push the rules, then what was the point of you writing the handbook? You might as well have just been like, it's a free-for-all. But people don't want to make action until it gets really, really bad or until it affects them. And that's the sad part, is it doesn't affect people, or it doesn't really matter to people all that much what's done until it hits home. But as somebody who really, really, really feels like safety as a whole, not just even in the realms of like guns and stuff, but just the topic of safety within families, safety within friends, safety on the road and stuff, it is something that, yeah, we could talk about and we can acknowledge as an issue, but the people who can actually change it are not doing anything. They're not doing anything. And a lot of the times that if the people start to push it and it gets to a certain area, it gets blocked. It gets blocked. And so then eventually, after seeing this happen enough times, you're just kind of like, what's the point? And kind of getting this to the space of, if I can't directly help with the cause, I have to let go of it, has helped me, because you're kind of like, I can finally focus on the stuff that I have been dealing with personally. And once you fix that, life becomes as pretty as the world around you. Truthfully. See, I keep getting scared because there's people like walking around the track. And I'm scared. I don't know what to do, I'm scared. But then the last little topic I want to touch on is confidence and self-esteem. Because me at 20, being able to look at myself and be like, damn, I'm fine. Like, I'm so pretty, I'm so diverse. Like, I can pull off any look, and I just love looking at myself. It's something that 18-year-old me is looking at and just like, how'd you do that? And I think it's because once you kind of understand what works for you, know what your comforts are, and you stop looking at the different bodies that aren't yours, or even the bodies that aren't yours but don't exactly like replicate yours, and being like, but it doesn't look like them, it doesn't this and the third, and I'm not sure. And once you kind of look at yourself and you're like, if I don't have a problem with it, I don't care who does. Brody, that makes everything so much easier. Of just kind of like, I don't care if the person next to me looks at my Oreo hair and is like, oh my god, why she got her hair like that? Bitch, because I think it's cute and I'm pulling it off. Like, what, is you mad? You mad, ain't you? You mad because I get to wear my Oreo hair in confidence and I get to eat you up, but you probably tried it and you didn't like how it looked on you, so now you trying to put your insecurity on me. I ain't got time for that. Or if I decided to get a couple piercings and tattoos, and people are like, I don't like that tattoo, or I don't like that piercing. It ain't on your body though. I chose to do that with my body, and I like how it looks. But if I didn't like how it looked, it would be off me, or it wouldn't have been here in the first place. So mute and keeps it pushing. Once you develop that attitude of, I'm fine with how I look. I know how to make myself look a way that no one can make me feel weird about it. The noise of the world and those who criticize you becomes so much smaller, because you eventually reach this point of, it is what it is. Don't care. If I want to wear some knee-high shorts and pull it off, I'm going to wear my knee-highs, bro. Like, if I want to wear some floodwater jeans, I'm going to wear some floodwater jeans, bro. Like, I'm gonna do me a Dora Explorer. If I wanted to get a Dora Explorer, bro, I would wear the hell out of some. I don't think it would actually look good on me, but like, let's just say that I decided that I'm gonna be Dora. Get me a ball with some bangs, of course. It's all for us to decide. And even though I might look at some styles and be like, that's definitely new and unique, I'm not gonna go out of my way to be like, oh my god, those types of people should, this and that should happen to them, and it's so ugly, and I'm gonna go out of my way to put in my comment section, because it's like, biatch, if your comments was gonna affect that person, they wouldn't be posting it, or they would be changing themselves to please you. But clearly they haven't. They probably don't plan to. So you're wasting your time up in their comment section. Get over yourself. Move on. There's bigger issues in the world. But ultimately, the premise is life is uncertain. And as much as we want to say life is short, we really don't know how long we have. Because some people will get a long time, some people will get a short time. And it's all about just being happy in the time that you have. Just be happy in the time that you have. Because I could be sitting here very much happy and alive, and then I call my mom, say come pick me up, and she don't pick me up. That's like, it's morbid to think about, but it's the truth. I can sit here and be like, mom, come pick me up, and then all of a sudden something happens that she don't pick me up, or she's not the one to pick me up, it's the ambulance or something. But I could also live to be 102 years old, and I'm gonna make sure that I'm very much happy in them 102 years. And a lot of the people who would try to make you not be happy for them years, just mad because they've been unhappy in however long they've been alive, and you probably will never see that person in your life. There's a 1 in 9 billion chance that you will ever come across this person. There's a 1 in 9 billion chance that this person actually has an effect on your life, and there's a 1 in 9 billion chance that you actually give a fuck. So that's the moral of the story. Don't give a fuck, and just live life in the way that makes you happy, because that's what I want for everybody. I just want everybody to be happy. And if something or a topic makes you unhappy, then don't talk about it, don't discuss it, and don't put yourself in a position where you're now unhappy because of that topic. And if that topic happens to be around you, ignore it, move on. If somebody asks you about it, just be like, I'm not really interested. End the conversation. If they still want to persist, just still very much persist on your point of like, I don't want to talk about it. And if they're going to be like, well, your lack of speaking signals this, if that's what you want to think, go ahead. You was probably gonna think that regardless of what I said. So I would much rather you think wrong than me give you something to like feed off of. How I look like. But anyways, I feel like I've been sitting on this bench long enough. I might scroll on my phone a little bit before I call my mom to come pick me up, but we'll see. But here comes my little Christian spiel. Remember, God loves you, I love you, and you matter to somebody. And I will see y'all whenever I post next. I'm gonna just upload this straight because I don't have time to edit, and y'all gonna see just how awkward it is filming out in public. But sometimes you gotta take some chances, right? Love y'all. Bye.
Worst ways, oh baby, it's a shame that we don't operate well, baby, cause you're bad for my health, I swear you go to hell, take the L, I don't wanna see you swell no more, and you might be the death